All right, folks, I hope you guys are doing well today, and I have a brand new video for y'all. And it's a pretty fun one. We have a tier list ranking video, and it's basically going to rank all the provinces and territories of Canada. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but we're going to keep it short and sweet. So I'm going to be using 3 criteria to grade these provinces and put them in their respective tier list. This also does include the territories, by the way, so in total there's going to be 13 provinces and territories that are going to be ranked at the end of it. And so the criteria that I'm going to be using is number 1, the history of the province. So just, do they have much of a history in Canada, etc., etc. Number 2 is population. And then number 3 is contributions to the country. So, and also, actually, I'll add another one too. The 4th one will be tourism. Tourism is another one. I don't know why. I thought that would just be another one that we have to include because it doesn't really fit in with contributions, which is number 3. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So we're going to start off with Manitoba. Manitoba, having a tough time, but I think I'm going to put it like a C tier. Manitoba borders Ontario. It borders Saskatchewan as well, but they border Ontario, which is important. At the same token, though, the history, there's some history in Manitoba for sure. I'm not going to deny that. In terms of things to do in Manitoba, there's not much to do. And, northern Manitoba is nice, I've heard, but the city is like Winnipeg. What are you going to do in Winnipeg? Let's be honest. And then we also have contributions, which, to be quite fair, Manitoba does not contribute much to the country. Their economy is very small compared to other provinces. And so I'm going to leave it at C tier for now. New Brunswick, I'm having a tough time with New Brunswick as well. I think I'm going to put it at C tier. I think I'm going to put it behind Manitoba. This is no offense to New Brunswick, but they have a good history, for sure. They were one of the 4 original provinces of Canada. French and English are the official languages in New Brunswick, so that's pretty interesting that they're bilingual. At the same token, though, there isn't really much to do in New Brunswick. Again, nature is nice, fine. Tourism's fine. Their economy's not bad, but it's not, an Ontario or a Quebec, which I'll get to later on. So I'll put it as C tier for now. I just don't really think that New Brunswick is the province, if that makes any sense. Next up, we'll move on to Yukon. So Yukon, I've always had a soft spot for Yukon. This is a territory, by the way, so we're going to grade it slightly differently. With that being said, although I like Yukon quite a bit, I'm going to have to put it a D tier. Yukon does have a very rich history. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to put a C tier. Yukon has a very rich history. It's a very nice place from what I've heard. Borders Alaska, so it's strategically located. In terms of their contributions, they don't really contribute much. Obviously, it's a territory, so they don't have official provincial status. And then, in terms of other things, tourism and whatnot, the industry is fine in Yukon, I guess. Population is very small. That's another factor. New Brunswick has a decent population. Manitoba has fine population. Yukon does not have a good population. They have I don't know what the population is. Let's take a look. It's very low, though. Yeah, 45,000. That's like a regular town in Ontario that you'll have 45,000 people. And that's the entire province, which is crazy. But still, I think Yukon is definitely one of the better territories. I'll actually put it above New Brunswick, to be honest with you. I think their history is incredible. The nature is wonderful. I think there's more to do nature-wise. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's more to do for with regards to nature and that kind of stuff in Yukon than there's in New Brunswick. But then again, I might get some contradictory statements in the comment section. Moving on, let's go to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, I have to put it a D tier. I'm sorry. Saskatchewan, and this is no offense to Saskatchewan, by the way. Their population is fine. It's not great. I think is it more than Manitoba? Let's take a look. Their population is 1.1 million. And then Manitoba is 1.3. So yeah, they're actually less populated than Manitoba. With regards to New Brunswick, I think they're slightly more populated. They have a slightly larger population than New Brunswick. History, don't really have too much of a history in the Dominion of Canada since 1867. Let's be honest. Things to do tourism-wise, there's really nothing to do in Saskatchewan. I know one person in Saskatchewan, he says there's really nothing to do. It's just prairies and farmland and whatever. That's what's called the prairies, by the way. In terms of contributions, they don't do too bad. I mean, they have some contributions for sure. They have like a biomedical industry and whatnot. But to be honest with you, Saskatchewan is not the province in Canada. And for that reason, I will put a D tier. I'm being harsh because there's really not that many provinces and territories. And then there's also not that many tiers. So we have to be, fair with where we're going to put these provinces / territories. PEI, obviously going to D tier. I mean, I would put it in F tier if there was an F tier, to be honest with you. I mean, in my view, I don't think it should be a province in some respects. PEI is basically the size. What's this population of PEI? Let's take a look. 179,000. That's very small. I mean, it's not a territory kind of level small, but it could basically be part of Nova Scotia. I don't know why they're not part of Nova Scotia, to be honest with you. There really isn't much to do. They don't contribute at all to Canada. They always ask for more money. I'm putting them in a D tier. I would put them in F tier, though, to be honest with you. Nova Scotia is our first B tier of the day. Nova Scotia is a very good province. Atlantic coast. They have a decent population. They contribute decently well. They have a good premier, too. From what I've heard, Tim Houston's pretty well liked. Their population is good, yeah. History, they have very good history. One of the first provinces in Canada. And so Nova Scotia pretty much has it all. Tourism, you have a lot to do in Nova Scotia. There's so much to do in Nova Scotia. History, whether it's history, whether it's nature, whether it's just relaxing, whatever it is, it's a very chill place. And for that reason, I'm going to put it at B tier. I can't put it in A tier because they're not really they don't really have that much of a big city. I mean, you could say Halifax, I guess, but there's not really that much that Nova Scotia has that pops out. At the same token, though, I think it's a really, really solid province, and I'm going to put it at a B tier for that reason. Next up, Quebec. I was just in Quebec recently, and I have to be honest with you, I actually like Quebec more than I did before, even though I've been to Quebec many times. I like Quebec even more every single time I go there. And for that reason, I'm going to put Quebec, it's going to be our first S tier. Quebec is our first S tier. And the reason why I put Quebec at S tier is because they have it all. They have a history, they have a good population, they contribute a lot to the country, and there is so much to do in Quebec. There's really not much to say, not much else to say about Quebec. Only French majority speaking region in all of North America. And so, yeah, it's a very unique province, very cherished, and I love Quebec, and it should always stay part of Canada. I want to leave Ontario and BC for the end. Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm having a tough time with this one as well. I think I want to be nice and put it as C tier. I know some Newfies. They're nice people. It's a very chill part of Canada. I'll put it that way. Very chill. They're very laid back there. But to be quite frank, there really isn't much to do in Newfoundland and Labrador, and they don't really contribute at all. So for that reason, I'm going to put it as C tier. I don't really need to elaborate too much on it. There's really not much to do. You can ask the residents of Newfoundland and Labrador as well, and they'll say pretty much the same thing. I mean, there really isn't much to do there. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I think I'm going to pull up Alberta at a C tier. And the reason why, I'm going to put it at the top of C tier, by the way. The reason why I put Alberta as C tier, a lot of people are going to be angry at this, but there's multiple reasons. First of all, fine. Population, they have it. Okay, fair enough. They have a very good population, very large population. They have history for sure. Maybe not as rich as Ontario, Quebec, or, Nova Scotia, but they do have a history nonetheless. With regards to things to do in Alberta, yes, there is a lot to do in Alberta, and I will acknowledge that any day of the week. However, their contribution to the country, especially during this moment with the whole sovereigntist, whatever movement that they're trying to create, is very inappropriate. And I actually don't think that they contribute as much, or their contribution should be seen differently from other provinces, because frankly, the way that they're contributing right now is not the right way. They were not they did not want to support Canada during the whole tariff thing, Danielle Smith and her administration. And so that does bump them down quite a bit for contribution points. I would put them in a B tier, but at the same token, I just can't do it. I mean, there's really not anything that's a redeeming factor in regards to the way that they're governing at the moment. And that does play into my role. That does play into the role, or into the way that I rank these provinces, because the way that you govern does play a role in how much you contribute to the country. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Alberta, if Danielle Smith was not the premier, I'd put Alberta probably in A tier. But let's be honest, with her, the contributions that Alberta has made to the country have been very minimal. And she's basically trying to break up Alberta from the country, which is not a good thing. And that's not good for contributing to the country, by the way. Next up, is this Northwest Territories? I have to look it up on a map. As much as I hate to do that, I do have to look it up on a map. Yes, that is Northwest Territories right here. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put it as C tier just to be nice. I mean, it's a very nice place for sure. Population is non-existent. Their contributions are non-existent. They don't do anything for Canada in regards to, you know, helping us prosper economically. In terms of their tourism, I mean, there's things to do for sure. History-wise, they don't have much of a history. So I'll put it at the bottom of C tier. I don't think there's much to do in Northwest Territories, and we shouldn't, like, praise it till the end of time because there really hasn't been anything that they've done that's been that outstanding. Next up, we got Nunavut, and I have to be honest, I'm not really a fan of Nunavut because they are basically like a watered-down version of Northwest Territories. I'm going to put them at D tier. I want to put them above PEI, though, because I really don't... I don't know. PEI is another story. I can make a whole other video on PEI. But yeah, Nunavut, D tier indeed. Really not much else to say. I mean, they don't have much of a history, don't have a population. They don't contribute at all, really, to Canada. And, you know, their tourism is fine, but it's sort of like a watered-down version of Northwest Territories. All right, so now we have the two big hitters, BC and Ontario. Now, some may expect me to put BC straight to S tier, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put them in A tier. BC, I think, is a very solid province. There definitely are some issues, though. Okay, so first of all, they do have the population. I'll get that straight. They do have the population. They do contribute a lot to the country, and I will acknowledge that. They have a decent history. I mean, they joined Canada a bit later on. The biggest thing with BC at the moment, and this does also play in with the contributions factor, is, or I should say the tourism factor, outside of Vancouver, you know, to be quite honest with you, outside of Vancouver and some other parts of BC and some nature parts, there really isn't much to do in BC. So I have to put an A tier. If they were Quebec, or if they were an S tier, they would be like Quebec, where you literally go pretty much anywhere and you could find something to do. BC is not quite like that. So for that reason, I'm going to put them at A tier. They also don't really have a distinct culture like Quebec does. That's why I did put Quebec at an S tier as well. I thought that was pretty interesting as well and unique about Quebec. And then lastly, we have Ontario, and Ontario is going straight to S tier. Ontario is the best province in Canada, hands down, and it's not even close. And it's going ahead of Quebec, by the way. Ontario has it all. They have the biggest population in the country. They contribute the most. They're the best province. You can find anything to do in Ontario. Anything and everything is in Ontario. We are the best province, and it's not even close. I don't want to hear it. The history is incredible in Ontario. We had Kingston as the capital at one point. Now it's Ottawa. We still are the home to the nation's capital. Ontario is the best. Don't doubt us, okay? Don't doubt us. And don't diss me, because trust me, this is not even... I think this is probably one of the best tier lists ever made on this channel. I mean, this is probably one of the best tier lists in history, though, if we're really being honest. Like, this is incredible, the way that I rank this. Or someone disagree. Who knows? But yeah, no, Ontario is definitely the best province. And so, yeah, this is my ranking, guys. Or these are my rankings, I should say. Plural. You know, and again, no disrespect to these provinces / territories that I put lower. And not really... It's not really anything personal against them. It's just the fact that I'm looking at it from a grading perspective, and to be quite honest, they fall very short in those regards. And these provinces, I would say these four, I would include Nova Scotia as well, these four really excelled in all four of those categories, and that's why they ended up getting higher scores. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I thought this would be a fun video. I didn't want to make like a too political video. Who knows, maybe this one will be a bit more controversial than some of my political videos. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.